Let's go ahead and continue our understanding of measures of central tendency with a focus on median income and median housing. This particular worksheet or workbook is available at Schoology under Chapter 1 within the Excel file. So you can go ahead and bring that up and get that copied to your Dropbox, and then we'll go ahead and continue with the creation of some bar charts and some comparisons between income and housing. Help us understand why this median measurement is so important in the world of economics. So if you need to, go ahead and pause this video until you have that up and running, and then once again make sure you do save that to your Dropbox. Let's take a quick tour through this worksheet to see what it is that we will be accomplishing. Well, step number 1 is make sure you put your name here and then put today's date, the date that you're working on this. And then take a look at some of the headings that we have here. What we're going to do is be looking at the median income and the median housing values, and this will be annual income, yearly income, for these selected cities. So we've got our fair city, Tule Lake here, Sacramento, Redding, Santa Barbara, San Francisco, San Jose, and San Luis Obispo, all cities within California. And then this is real data that we found for the median income of individuals living in these communities, and then the median price of housing. And I believe this is current as of, I believe it was about 2014, 2015. And then later on we'll be doing a calculation here, or doing a ratio here, and using that to analyze this data. But to begin with, what we are going to do is learn how to create a chart or a graph. And specifically, we'll be looking at bar charts. And what we want to do is learn how to make that bar chart, interpret it, and determine what kind of a story that particular chart tells us. So step number 1 is to select the data that you want to graph, the data that we want to create a chart over. And so once again, just select the values. You don't need to select all of this. We're just going to start real simple. Just select the values, and we will build the chart from the foundation up. And of course, the foundation of any chart is going to be the values. Next step, click Insert on the main menu. And then you will see a lot of tools, and we want to come over here to this section here, Charts. Now there are a lot of things we can do here in the charts. We're going to stay very simple, and we're going to look for this one right here, which is a column chart or a bar chart. When they're stacked horizontally, they refer to it as a bar chart. Essentially, one's vertical, the other's horizontal, but it reveals the data in a very similar fashion. So to stick with what Excel calls it, we'll call that a column chart, and that'll be the first one that we work with. Go ahead and click on that, and then select the option that is the simplest, which is this clustered column, and it gives you a sample of what that chart's going to look like. So if it looks like this, that's the one you want. So take a minute, make sure you've got that. And if that looks okay, go ahead and click it, and it will insert that chart within your worksheet that you can then move around. And now we can see that it is not quite complete. It does have our values for annual income. It gives us the option to place a chart title, and then we have our columns or our vertical bars. But notice here, they're just listed 1 through 7. We would like those numbers to actually indicate which city it represents. So number 1 is actually Tule Lake. And so what we need to do is be able to get that to show our city names down there on the x-axis. So the way to do it is to make sure that you're within that chart and right-click. And this menu should pop up. If it doesn't pop up, it's because you're somewhere else within the chart area that it thinks you want to do something else. So make sure you get this menu and navigate to about the middle. You're looking for Select Data. And the Select Data Source pops up, and it's here where we will make some decisions. And so for now, the only side we need to be concerned with is over here, the category axis labels, horizontal or the x-axis. Right now it's indicating 1 through 7. That we want to edit. So go ahead and click Edit. And it's waiting for us to do something. So what we're going to do here, this little blinking vertical bar here is telling us, says waiting for us to put in a range of data. So we're just going to come over, starting with Tule Lake, click and hold, and drag through all of those city names, and you will see that it put in the name of our sheet and a range of data. And we click OK, and there are the cities. Looks good. Click OK. And there we have it. Tule Lake, Sacramento, all lined up. Let's go into our chart and update the title. So click on the text box and then give your chart an appropriate name. Let's call this median housing, median income, and housing. And I believe this was 2015 data. And that'll be okay for now. This is a practice chart that we're doing. Let's next look at the chart tools that are available for formatting our column chart. Up here on the main menu, once your chart is selected, Chart Tools options appear, and you have a design options with lots of different choices, and also some formatting options where you can go in and do pretty much everything. You can format the colors, the way these bars look. You can format titles, text, lots of different things, and that I will let you experiment with on your own. For now, I just want to stick with the basics. I'm going to click on Design and then navigate over to Quick Layout. Now in a Quick Layout, it gives you some different formats as far as how your titles appear and the legend. And let's go ahead and take a look at layout number 9, because that gives us a y-axis title, x-axis, and then the legend. And so for now, we'll go ahead and keep that legend, because we are going to add a second series of data to this chart here in just a minute. If we just had one series of data, we could eliminate the need for a legend, but we'll go ahead and keep that for now. So once again, this is over at Quick Layout, option number 9, where it allows you to have a y-axis title and an x-axis title along with a legend. And so let's go ahead and just put some new titles in. And our x-axis title could be Selected California Cities. And the y-axis could be Annual Income or Yearly Income. All right, once you have that, let's go in and see if we can format the name of this series. Now we know from having created this that we did chart or graph our income. So let's once again right click on here and go to Select Data. And notice over here on the left side, well, that is the name of that particular series. So we can change that. So let's do this. Let's edit it. Click Edit and give it a series name, and we know that we want that to be Median Income. And then click OK. Click OK. Let's see. There it is right there. So now it's changed. So let's go ahead and pause the video for a moment and make sure you've gotten this far. And that's interesting why that has happened there. I'm going to go ahead and clean that one up. That looks better. So go ahead and pause if you need to. Get there, ask for help, and then we'll move on and enter in a second series of data within this same chart. So next up, with this graph, we have one series of data, median income, but we want to compare that income to the housing prices for that same area. So we need to add an additional set of numbers or another series of numbers. And so over here on the left side, for your data source is where the series information resides. And how we got there, once again, is a right click on your chart and choose select data. And so there we are. So we have median income, but we want to add median housing prices. So click Add and give it a series name, median housing. And then come over to your series values, and we're going to get rid of that and select this. And there they are. They popped up there in orange already. So we selected just the values for housing that correspond to each of these cities. And now they are stacked up right next to the income. Now we could go over here, and once again we have that 1 through 7 listed here. And we could go ahead and just select those cities again, just like that, to associate that with that series of data. There we go. So now we have two series of data corresponding to each of those cities. All right, so now our chart is starting to reveal somewhat of an interesting story. And what's interesting is that the difference between income and housing for selected cities is different. And so the ratio of income to housing tends to be a little bit higher in some areas versus other areas. And so that's the type of information that a graph can reveal in a picture form that helps us describe something about the economics of a particular area. So take some time, compare it to this chart, practice, and try to get to something that looks like this. If you want to spend a couple minutes just changing the color of a bar, you can do that, and then we will go ahead and move forward and save this chart as a separate page within our Excel document. All right, currently our chart is embedded within our worksheet. It is possible to save this chart as its own page. So you'll see down here we have sheet 1, and so sheet 1 consists of this information, this data that we've been using, and then we've embedded the chart within that, and it can be moved around. It can be resized. But we can also take and save this so it creates a separate page for it down here, and then it would make a larger chart. So the way to do that is to right click and then select Move Chart. So right now it's an object in sheet 1. We want to create a new sheet, and we can give that a different name. Click OK. And there it is. There's sheet 1. That's what we started with for the information. And the graph for that is right there. So a nice feature of Excel is that if we make a change to our original data, that change will be reflected on the chart. It'll update it automatically. Let's go back to sheet 1 and actually give sheet 1 a name that makes some sense here. I double-clicked on it, and I'm going to put median income and housing. Just so it makes a little more sense as to what sheet 1 is revealing to us. So there's the data sheet, and there's the chart. Now, is it possible that we could come in and change the chart type and have it automatically restructure our columns? that's what we are going to try to do next. So right now we have a column chart with columns adjacent to one another. Let's see if we can stack these by simply changing the chart type. So I'm within our median chart. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select change chart type. And so I'm going to go from a clustered column to a stacked column. Click OK. And there it is. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, in this particular case, we're trying to reveal the magnitude of change between housing prices and the level of income that people have in order to actually buy those houses. And so, in some cities, there's quite a disparity between the amount of income that people make and how much it costs to actually buy a house. And so it refers to the affordability of living in that particular city. And so when you look at this, you can see that the cities that are the most expensive to live in, or where housing is the least affordable, would be San Francisco, San Jose. Now, of course, all of these are expensive relative to income, but these are really out there. San Jose. So you're taking a look at, here's how much money you make in blue, but this is how much it takes to buy a house. And so it reveals that it's just really expensive. And so if you're looking to move somewhere, this particular piece of economic data might be important to you. Yes, I can get a job in San Jose, but can I buy a house? Maybe. You would take a look at this. Median income, $100,000. Compare that to what job offer you have, and look at the possibility of you being able to buy a house. Once again, the median value or price of a house reveals that half the houses are below that amount and half of the houses are above that amount. So here you're looking at, in San Jose, it looks like the median price lower, $500,000 for a house. So half of the houses are below that, half are above it. So it's very expensive. Now you compare that to here in Tule Lake. If I were to say, now which city is the most affordable to live in? And you would look at this and go, well, that's Tule Lake. Yes, it is. The median income is fairly close to what the median price of a house is, a whole lot closer than the rest of these cities. Now, does that mean you would definitely want to come to Tule Lake, work and live? Maybe. You probably want to consider other factors, but certainly the cost of housing is a big economic factor that people consider when moving to a new area. So next up, go ahead and answer those questions on your worksheet, and then we'll talk about that in class.